why not?
Okay. I don't know if it's recording yet, but it shows the timer. Hey, I'm Jacob.
Hey, I'm Parker.
And this is the Party Talk option because we don't know what we're doing here, and we're whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not the best explanation of exactly what we're doing. Then I don't know what is.
Exactly. It's just this is something I decided to do like last week, and this guy's going off to college anyway, so we figured might as well do a recording because why not?
Yeah, let's have a party. He's finally leaving. No, I'm just kidding. Calm down. Calm down, all of you. Freak.
Exactly. But we were just talking about, because right before I started this recording, I was trying to type the freaking quote-unquote logo, which is basically just text in the most basic font. And
you can all read it right there. It says the Party Talk and probably the word option. We are
just,
not
we
sure.
don't know. We're not even...
when it looks wrong, but I swear that's how I've spelled it every single freaking time.
Exactly. Like, we're not even sleep deprived or anything.
Not yet, anyways.
Exactly. It's not even 6:30 at night right now, and it's just, I tried typing it, I was like, this looks alright, right?
Option.
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 I don't know. That's how you spell it every single time. And then you look at it after you spelled it one time, you ask yourself, is that right? And then suddenly it'll never look right ever again.
You see, but the true question we should be asking is, should this logo exist? No, is the answer.
No, well, then why are we asking? You know the answer. Why are you asking the question?
It's a rhetorical question. That's the thing.
Oh. Okay. So wait, why shouldn't it exist? Why no logo?
Because it's screwing with our brains, and that's all we're looking at right now.
That's true. That's a fair point.
Exactly. So now
the only thing we're gonna talk about for an hour and a half is gonna be
just the logo.
Just these white words that may or may not be spelled correctly on a black screen.
Yeah, the pear tie talc option. I don't know.
Is that talk like chalk or is it like milk?
Talc.
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 The talc.
Okay, I don't know. We're just rambling at this point. So, you played Castlevania Symphony of the Night. What were your thoughts?
I played Castlevania Symphony of the Night earlier, and it was pretty fun. I don't usually have a whole lot of fun with platforming titles. I mean, that's not completely true. I did beat Metroid Fusion a while ago. Yeah, we're that old now that we're actually able to look back and say, hey, I played these games. It's... The sad thing is I started playing it when I was like already 18. I'm like 22 now. And this presumably is not going to be released much later than we make it. So I'm like just barely pulling around to GBA. We already have the Nintendo Switch out.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty far behind. But anyways, as I was saying, I enjoyed Castlevania Symphony of the Night pretty well. I do think it'd be nicer if they, I don't know, made more apparent where there's freaking save points. That would be nice. I was like, yes, I finally beat this mini boss, dope. And then I don't know, rambled. No, that's not the right word. What am I thinking of?
Stumbled?
I mean, I don't know. Just kind of wandered around for like 40 minutes without finding another save point. I literally made it through the entirety of one full realm before dying. And then I was like, oh, great. I didn't save anywhere. Freaking suck.
Was forced right back to where it was last time. And
I walked all the way through the white marble crap. All the way out, and then I freaking died because I couldn't save anywhere. It sucked. But other than that, I mean, I had a lot of fun. I think it was pretty cool. It was nice that it was voice acted. I think that was new for the PlayStation 4 version, or...
Well, I mean, I guess the PlayStation 1 version had voice acting too, but it's just they revamped it because the original was terrible.
Gotcha. So, I liked the voice acting. I liked the very brief amount of characters that you got. The gameplay was pretty good. Just would be so nice if I could just save whenever I wanted to. I love it when games do that, you know, where you can just save.
Exactly. Like, there aren't many games that do that nowadays. Shin Megami Tensei 4 is one that does that, which is really nice because that's a game where you will die a lot over and over.
And it's so dumb. Why do they make it so you can't save in certain areas? It's like, Majora's Mask was probably my favorite Zelda game, But there was just one thing that irked me, and it was that you couldn't save when you wanted to save. You had to like freaking warp to an owl statue or whatever the crap you gotta do. It was trash.
Exactly. That's how I felt the first time I tried it, and like with the whole Deku scrub thing.
Oh,
you can't save that entire sequence. You just have to go through it.
You got like what, an hour and a half of just straight gameplay before you're even able to save. If you don't get the Ocarina of Time at the correct point, then you gotta go through like an hour of that again.
Yep, and it's brutal, dude. But like I've gotten really good at that because finding the bombers is like muscle memory now. It's like as soon as you find them, it's like just go get the deed or whatever, and then talk to the Scarecrow a few times. Next thing you know, it's day 3.
That's fair. I didn't know about the Scarecrow for a while though. Which I mean, I'm over here like an avid Zelda fan. I'll have you know. And
you've been wearing a Zelda hoodie right now.
I'm wearing a Zelda hoodie right now. I look like legit Ocarina of Time Link, except more chubby. And and I freaking still didn't know you could use that dumb Scarecrow, even though he's like legitimately explaining it to you right then.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's just because like it's one of those NPCs where I feel like because of how much text there is, you're bound to skip a lot of it.
That's fair.
It's like Kapora Gabora all over again, and then they put the cursor on no. And
it sucks. It sucks so bad. Why do they do that?
I swear, Miyamoto knows what he's doing because he likes to troll people, and
he knows what he's doing. He just doesn't want you to have a good time the same way he thinks that you should have a good time.
Exactly. It's just like, here, read this tutorial, owl. Got it? No. Here you go again.
The whole thing, baby. Although you could press B. That was kind of nice.
That's true.
But then would you not like to not hear that not once more again? And you're just like, sorry, what? And it's like, oh, okay, I'll repeat myself. Right from the top, baby.
I miss Ocarina of Time. I haven't played that in so long.
I kind of do and kind of don't. Because, I mean, it was a fun game and all, but, like, that owl, man. There's only one thing that can turn me off to a game, and it's like...
It's reading.
Legitimately just reading. Like, if I have a solid minute and a half where I'm not moving my character, there is a problem.
Well, that explains Persona 5 at least. Because, that game's basically all cutscene, so...
That's fair. Then again, I'm torn, because I really like Xenoblade Chronicles series. And, I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has some cutscenes that are so long, the game system shuts off after they're done because you haven't been moving the controller enough. And it's like, oh, I guess he's not watching anymore. It's like, no, that was just a cutscene. Like, that's how long the cutscenes are, but the game is phenomenal. I don't know, I guess it's like a ratio. Because you get long freaking cutscenes that are like, okay, wow, this is great. But, like, but you also have, like, just a lot of content and walking around and fighting present between each cutscene, and it's engaging. So I don't know, maybe a ratio.
That makes sense.
With a Persona, it's kind of like, okay, here's a dungeon, and you go through the dungeon, and it's kind of good gameplay. You're going through and having your fun listening to the music and everything, and then as soon as you beat the dungeon, okay, I guess we got 28 days left. Reading! Yeah!
Well, I mean, to be fair, there is actually a lot to do in those 28 days. Well, I mean, if you beat Kamoshida's castle too early, there's nothing you can do. But if you beat any of the other dungeons, there's an optional dungeon you can go into and do more fighting on those days that you have.
Okay, see, I didn't know that, because the first one and the only one I beat was
Kamoshida's castle, yep.
Man, that guy's creepy.
He is terrible, and I told you about Kamoshida Man in Persona Q2, right?
Oh my gosh, I thought that was fantastic. Oh my gosh.
Kamoshida Man! I love that trailer so much. It's like, it's a rip-off of Superman. That's what it is. Because, like, the plot of Persona Q2 is that, like, they're in a movie theater, so the dungeons are based after movies. Like,
really?
Yeah, like, that's Superman, and there's a Jurassic Park-based one, and it's...
Oh my god.
Yes.
This game sounds fantastic.
It is. I pre-ordered it way ahead of time, so it's coming in June.
I haven't even played all the way through the original Persona 5 or any of the Persona games or any of the Shin Megami Tenseis, but freak, man, that sounds awesome.
It is. I mean, I'm kind of torn between whether or not you like it, because the Persona Q series is, I mean, more or less cutscene heavy, but also there's no deadlines. So
well, that's kind of nice.
Like, basically, it's a first-person dungeon crawler where you get 5 party members instead of 4 because you get, like, in Persona Q, you get the casts of Personas 3 and 4 combined, and plus 2 extra characters who are original to the game. Yeah. So that is, like, 17 characters to choose from, I think, because each Persona game has navigation characters that you can't control, but they help you, like, identify enemy weaknesses.
Yeah.
So you've got them. Persona Q2 has the cast of Personas 3, 4, and 5. So that's like 30-something characters you can choose from. And here's the thing. I don't think it has XP share. Like it.
Oh, freaking heck no.
Persona Q doesn't.
Heck no.
So you have to level grind each character separately.
I hate it when games don't have XP share. I hate it. Okay, so like all you out there, you all know XP share comes from freaking Pokemon, right? So like I've played few Pokemon games. Like my first Pokemon game that I played was freaking like Pokemon Y. Like that's where like I said, I started like GBA just barely recently.
Yeah.
So Pokemon Y is like the first one that I played, and I was like, dang, this game's fun. I don't see why I didn't play Pokemon before. And then I went back and started playing like Pokemon like Diamond or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's why. Like they don't have XP share right at the beginning, and you guys are all gonna. I guarantee there's gonna be at least 14 comments in the comment section that say noob. If we get at least 10 people to watch this show.
Well, I mean, this is going to YouTube and various streaming services, so who knows?
But like, yeah, if 10 people are out there, then at least 14 of them will comment noob on that. But like, I mean, come on, like the one thing that's good about games where you have a large party system is where you can like choose which ones you want in and which ones you don't. But like, you know, you don't want to just have one character in your party every time you play the game, or you know, you want to like experience all these other characters too. Like
exactly, like Dragon Quest XI. That's one of my favorite games because of the way it does the party system. So, for those who don't know, that's actually where the name of this podcast came from. The Party Talk option. That's a reference to Dragon Quest XI. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Anyway, and that game has at the first half of the game you get 7 party members. At the second half, I haven't actually finished the second half yet, but from what I can gather, I think you get 8 because one of the bad guys turns good. I won't spoil who for anyone who's playing the game, but one of the bad guys turns good and joins the party. Anyway, one of my favorite things about this game is that there are team attacks. So have you played a bit of Chrono Trigger? Because
very I know that little.
Like years ago on my YouTube channel, I had you and Jeff try it.
Yeah, that was it. That was the fun time.
But like it's kind of like that where your party members can collaborate and do certain attacks, and in this game you can, but only when like party members are pepped up. Like it's kind of a luck-based thing. Yeah. But they can do these team attacks that have really cool animations. And I mean, Dragon Quest's art style director is Akira Toriyama, so obviously the animations look amazing. So yeah. The biggest thing I love is being able to swap out party members and seeing every possible animation there is. And it's just it's so fun. It's like it's very satisfying to see that. And that game does have XP share, which is really good because there's some characters that I'll not use for long periods of time, but they'll still be gaining levels.
Yep. And see, like, when a game doesn't have an XP share, it rustles my jimmies. It is not good. Like, I think the worst example of this for me of a game that I actually played all the way through was Xenoblade Chronicles X. They did not have an XP share. It's like, okay, you get to pick. These 3 party members are basically always in your party because you have to take them through every story mode. You can switch out 2 of them. One of them is always your main character always has to be in. And then you've got usually Lynn and the actual main character. I can't remember her name. Elma. Yeah. Elma, the actual main character. They're usually in your party, and then you get to choose one rando out of the group. And it doesn't tell you that later on you're going to need to get past like certain levels with those characters in order to progress. Like there's the character Gwen, I think his name is.
Gwen?
Yeah. Gwen. And you have to get him to like level 48 before you can progress in the story to like chapter 9 or whatever. And it's like, what the heck? He's like legitimately level 8 right now.
Level grinding time.
All my characters are like level 50 and he's like level 8. I'm just like, what the freak, man? It's so dumb. And they have like 8 characters normally and like 14 DLC characters or something like that.
What?
It's not like 14, but it's a big enough number that it sucks trying to get them leveled up.
Oh, I bet.
And so I'm just like, freaking heck. Like, I brought Lau along this whole way, and that's no good. So now I can't use him anymore. I guess I gotta switch to Gwen. And then I was like, I don't like Gwen, but I'll level him up to level 48 and then switch to Arena. And then all these other characters. It's just so dumb. And it's like, why is it that they can't do what Xenoblade did? Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Totally.
When you take your 8 characters along with you, you can switch them out whenever and wherever you want.
Yes.
And they all level up.
That's what bothered me about Xenoblade X, needing to go back to town in order to get a different party member.
Right? And then they're like, hey, guess what? Your main character can pop up in other people's games, and other people will pop up in yours, and you can recruit them in your party. It's like, that's dope, but why would I want that?
Exactly.
Their level doesn't level up. You can't rehire them unless you get real lucky. And then they just take up that one spot that you really, really need because there's no freaking XP share.
Exactly. It's funny though, because I feel like they just came up with the concept that was eventually used for other games better. Like Nier Automata used that system. Like I think you play that game, and when you go up to a corpse, like you can actually have them join your team for a little bit.
Yeah.
So
and that's like a good mechanic sometimes, but like in Nier Automata, like you don't choose party members.
Yeah, it's just like it's the same two people most of the game.
Person who's helpful, I can hire them too. You don't have like a set number of people you can bring, and you're not losing EXP. Like,
and that game's also skill based, so you don't have to level isn't as important.
Exactly. So Nier Automata did it well. Freaking Xenoblade X, man.
Yeah.
I love that game, but I hated that aspect. I thought it was weird though. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, they did the reverse.
Really?
It was so weird. Like because I told you, like if you use a bed and you go to sleep, obviously in Xenoblade that's not going to heal you because you just heal outside of battle.
Yeah.
So instead, you can level up your people with bonus EXP, and the longer your character is out of your party, the more bonus EXP they get. And so in later levels, the less you use a character, the higher level they can be.
So in other words,
it's weird.
It's like the daycare system in Pokemon.
Yes. And it's so funny because you'll go back and you just have this level 99 Ditto. And you're like, wow, freak. What the heck?
But he still doesn't listen to you because you weren't the one who raised him.
Yeah, freaking sucks.
That's what happens when you neglect your children, my friends.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't neglect your children, please.
Don't do school, stay in drugs.
Don't do school, stay in drugs, kids. You heard it here first.
Exactly. But
don't quote us on that.
No, definitely quote us on that, and make sure you tell everyone Parker's the one who said that. There we go.
Why? Why this?
Hey, I'm not giving them your last name, so be thankful for that. No last names.
That's true, but they know Parker of the Party Talk option. I mean, Option, who knows?
The Purity Talc option.
The Purity Talc.
Talc.
I don't know.
I don't know. Whatever. Anyway.
We're in a loop.
Yeah. Back on the topic of XP share, speaking of loops.
Why is this the thing that we latch on to?
Because I mean, the name of the podcast is inspired by an RPG, so why not talk about RPG
fair.
stuff?
I just find it so funny. It's like, let's talk about this game, and you just played it. And what did you like? What did you not like? And then somehow we end up on a mechanic that's not even in said game.
Well, I mean,
we've been talking about it for how many minutes?
It's something, I don't know. We've been recording for almost 19 minutes, so whatever.
Really?
Yeah,
time flies.
Exactly.
I hope time flies for all you out there too, because if not, we're not going to get very many views.
Oh well, this is only the first episode. It's destined to be bad, so I don't care.
That's a fact.
Exactly, but
the EXP share continued.
Yes.
We should just make an entire series devoted to why it's good or not.
Exactly. But anyway, what I was just saying is I love the way Xenoblade Chronicles does it, but so this isn't about EXP share, because the reason I circled back to EXP share was just get your guys' attention. Because you mentioned that you love Xenoblade Chronicles X, but you hate what they did with EXP.
With the levels system.
Yeah. So Xenoblade Chronicles is one of my favorite games of all time. This has been a known fact for years. I expect everyone in the world to know this is a fact. Xenoblade Chronicles is my favorite game of all time.
That's a little ambitious, but okay. The whole world must know!
And the world will know.
Oh, gosh. That was such a good play.
It was.
They're doing newsies down at our high school.
They finished it last weekend, but...
Ah, freak.
I actually have the program still right here.
Such a good play, though. I just loved that. But anyways, continuing.
Anyway, yes. Xenoblade, whatever, stage play. A Xenoblade stage play would be cool. Anyway.
Wow.
Okay.
It'd be cool to see someone pull it off, I guess.
Well, I mean, they have a Persona 3 stage play, so...
Well, I mean, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess...
Persona 3 has, like 4 locations? I mean, you've got, like, the main dungeon, which is just one dungeon. It's, like,
which
Tartarus.
Is like 350
floors.
And
you got, like, freaking Xenoblade. It's like, let's explore these giant, mechanical, expansive worlds.
Okay, so what I guess...
Why the heck not?
What I should have said was I would love to see a faux Xenoblade Chronicles musical with just the cast recording because the soundtrack is phenomenal. And I would
get behind that.
I would love to, like, see a vocal version of it with the characters singing. Like, that would be cool.
Yes.
Like,
someone do that. If you're listening right now, that is your calling now.
Yes. Like, did I ever tell you that I almost did that with Undertale?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because, like, it was when you were on your mission. It was,
yes.
I tried making an Undertale musical, and I composed some of the music, and it sounded good, but then I just stopped.
Then I just stopped.
Like,
that is the explanation of most of the projects that anyone I know, like me, Jacob here, my other friend Josh, my brother Austin, like literally anyone, any single person that exists that I know, just like, yeah, I was doing really good, this project was awesome, then I stopped.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing, it's just, you lose, like, when you work on a project, you start off and you're just like, oh yeah, this is going to be so cool. Dope. But then, like, the more you work on it, it's like, I don't know anymore. And then eventually, if it's something, I think I'm coining this now. I call this the 3/4 clause. That's probably something somewhere in the world.
That's probably already existent as something else.
So the 3/4 clause is what I meant, not applause. Anyway.
The 3/4 applause. You applause your work at this point.
At 3/4 through, you must applaud the author or musician.
To the applause of all the haters.
Exactly. No, it's the haters who will be officially obligated to applaud. Anyway, so this 3/4 clause. I like to think that if you get 3/4 through a project, or at least 3/4 within a certain time frame, which is difficult to measure when you're working on something, and you tell yourself, do I really want to do this? Give yourself a few days to answer, because sometimes your instant answer is not always what you actually want. So, like with the Undertale musical, my answer was no. Like, I was fine with what I did, and I was like, I don't want to pursue this any further. So.
And I mean, like, for me, I've got a book that I'm writing, and I still want to write it. I still want to get it done. But, like, I got through, like, the first book, I think. I'm still not set on that. But anyways, I got through what I feel like is the first book, and I got into, like, a quarter of the second book. And then I was like, hey, this part sucks. And I'm like, I don't like where this is going, or where it is right now, but I don't know where else to go. So, new project.
Yeah.
And so I haven't, like, abandoned the old one yet, but, like, I took applause. I took applause for it. Or is it a clause? I don't know.
It's
a break.
Tomato, potato.
Tomato, potato. Sorry, that's copyrighted, I think.
Whatever. Who cares?
They're going to hit me for IP infringement, but who gives a rip?
Exactly. No, they're going to hit me for IP infringement, because this is going on my YouTube channel.
I guess I care even less then.
Okay, anyway, you were saying about your applause?
Yeah, so I took applause, and then I started working on another project, but it's just like, I'm surprised how often that happens, where you're just like, man, I love where this is going and what this is doing, and then, like, sometimes for a good reason, and sometimes just really just because you just don't care anymore.
Exactly.
Not even don't care, just like, oh, I forgot this existed and I'm done.
Oh,
like,
well.
Like, I felt really good about the books we were writing. We were writing them for, like, a year?
A year and a half, yeah.
And he's been writing the series for, like, a long, long time. And we haven't, like, stopped, but we haven't, like, picked it up since the book has been done for, like,
exactly
more than 2 weeks.
We've got like 70 pages of book 2 written, but I just like what I want to do is I want to rework the series from the beginning because there's a lot about it I don't like. So I want to scrap like the whole dream sequence in book 2.
That's yes.
I want to revise book 5 so that it's actually good.
But like, it'll be weird. It'll be weird because it's like.
Well, I mean, book 5 technically is where James died, and that's where we got that in Dark Fantasy.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, like I died.
Oh yeah.
And Brayden died like way early in book 5.
Oh yeah, a lot of people died.
We're kind of important in book 6.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I mean, a little bit.
Brayden technically shouldn't have been canon in book 5. So
no,
because he never knew James.
He literally took like a very small part in book 5. Like he's literally just on the stage and gets stabbed, and that was like his role.
Wait,
and then like book 6 rolls around, and he's like,
"But isn't
hey, I actually know all you guys, and I'm alive."
Isn't there like a Shadow Brayden in book 5?
Yes, there was. And Shadow Brayden took a big part in both book 5 and book 6.
Oh yeah, he was a character in book 6.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
It's been long, guys.
It's been 5 years.
Just to show how long this pause has been going on for. And this is
a long pause.
This is all creators do here. Like, there's a reason this is called Party Talk, and it's because when you talk about something, you're like, yes, I'm so excited.
Exactly, but then when we work on it,
and then you're like, and I mean, we're doing this project right here. It's so easy because
it's a conversation.
It's as easy to do a podcast as it is to talk about doing a podcast. Because you're just talking about doing a podcast as a podcast.
Dude, you're freaking my brain out.
Right? But like, when you're actually like, oh man, I actually have to type that crap?
Yep.
Ah, freak.
That's how I felt about Elysium for like, ever since the beginning of 2019, I realized, dude, I've been writing this book for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
That is the longest I've ever spent writing a book. And I'm on page 498, and I'm on chapter 72. The main character is hanging out with Persephone and the adopted daughter of Hades.
You know, as bad as it is, though, with books, it's so much worse with manga. I started trying to draw out one of my stories in manga form. And I'm not even kidding. Like, I got maybe 8, I think, maybe 9, 10 frames done. It took me 2 hours. When I wasn't even a part that I had written in the book yet. I mean, not yet, because Dad just hadn't written it at all. It was like a different intro, because it doesn't translate really well from novel to manga.
Yeah.
With the intro that I picked for the book. But, like, the novel way, if I were to write out the opening, would literally take 15 seconds. Literally 15 seconds. Like, oh, okay, so then, like, basically the way it starts off is this girl is, like, sitting in a tree, and she says, like, do you ever wonder, like, how things ended up the way they did? Like, do you ever wonder why you are the way you are, and
so
how it came to be?
I'm totally kidding.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, what was my character selection screen like? No, I'm just kidding. But, I can't exactly answer that question for you, but this is the story of how I found mine. And realizing who I am started with realizing I was late. Again. And then they're just walking to this place, and that's all I have in the drawings. And that took me 2 hours.
Well,
mapped out 2 hours. And I'm just like, man, it'd be so dope to have all these drawings just done. Like, it'd be so awesome to see these fight scenes that happen in about 1,400 frames. Freak.
See, now that's the magic of writing, because it's like, you type all that out, and it plays like a movie in everyone's heads. Like, the drawings are already pre-made in everyone's heads, because, like, you've heard of schemas, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone has something for something.
Yeah.
For lack of better explaining. So
they have something for something.
Like, when you write a character, they generally associate that character with someone else, like, based on your description. Like, in Black Crystals 2 and 3, I kind of veer away from descriptions because I like the characters, or the readers, to imagine the characters how they
everyone's
want.
kind of got, like, their own view in their head of, like, how everything plays out.
Exactly.
And it's always a little different from person to person. Like, some people, despite the fact it says Hermione's face is a white, pale face, they somehow think she's black. Like, everyone views it differently, apparently.
Well, I mean, J.K. Rowling likes to change her canon.
J.K. Rowling herself views it differently than everyone else and herself when she wrote them.
Well, J.K. Rowling's like, she is what I want to be as an author. She does whatever she wants with the story, and she has no shame. I love it.
Literally no shame. I wouldn't exactly aspire to be quite like that.
But, like, I wish...
It's nice that she, like, you know, continues to think about and develop her characters.
Exactly.
But it's like, can we please do this within the realm that you already created them?
I can totally imagine that if you were asking her, she'd be like, no.
She'd be like, frick nah.
Like, no, like, I don't necessarily aspire to be just like that, but I aspire to reach that level of not caring.
That level, that exquisite level of I don't give a rip.
Exactly.
About what my fans think. So
freaking, like, in Black Crystal, like, oh yeah, Hades is now best friends with Chris, which is funny because that's canon.
That's canon. Straight up, guys. Like, and the main character befriends the god of death.
Also, he plays fetch with Cerberus using Poseidon's trident. So there's that.
And why not? I mean, who gives a rip? That's awesome, actually. I enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, it's a.
Thank you for your creativity.
This whole sequence of the underworld is probably my most favorite part of Elysium because it's Chris. He's with this group of like 17 people, and it's like, all right, let's go on this big party adventure. And Chris is like, nah, I'll go alone. And everyone's like,
I'm going on my own.
And everyone's like,
freaking death and play fetch with his dog, just using a freaking legendary item that's actually dangerous. You know, legendarily spear spot through the head.
Oh yeah, for those who don't know, Cerberus is spot in Greek. I almost said German for some reason.
It's not quite German, but I mean it's all Greek to me.
Exactly, but yeah, there's that. Elysium is just the weirdest book ever because they're in a world where I'm not gonna spoil it because I know there are some people who will eventually read this someday.
Eventually,
but it's in a world where people are already dead. So
which you could probably derive from the name Elysium.
Exactly, like the Elysian Fields.
Yeah, Greek paradise.
Exactly.
Well, not paradise, is it?
It is. Elysium is the paradise.
I know that from Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
I actually learned that from the first Percy Jackson book. But
I should have learned that from the first Percy Jackson book. I read that book so long ago.
Oh yeah, oh yes, Elysium, because of how much Greek mythology is involved, they make so many Percy Jackson references. Like
really,
like the character Ariana, she's one of the main characters, and she gets a pen that turns into a sword, and she's like, "Dude, this is some Percy Jackson crap." And it's like, it's
dope.
Exactly, and then they make all sorts of references. And
so I've always wondered, though. I gotta ask, and I'm sorry to interrupt you in the middle of Elysium.
It's fine.
But like Percy Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Like in the movies, they do it different. In the books, as we all know, the freaking movies suck.
The movies are awful.
But like, I think the way they did the pen sword thing was a little better. Because in the movies, it's a click pen.
Mm-hmm.
You press the button on the bottom
instead of it being a cap.
And it's a cap.
In the books.
Like in the books, what do? You just take off the cap and there's a sword. What do you do with the cap? You're just left holding a cap. Like, oh yeah,
how awkward would
this
that
is
be?
Like really good, guys. Now I can just hold the cap. And that'd be so awkward trying to put a pen cap on your sword.
Or like I can only imagine him during the I forgot which book it was in, but he was...
I mean, do you guys know how hard it is to hold a sword stable? It is not easy when it's an actual sword.
Exactly.
And then you gotta hold it stable enough to put a pen cap
I can imagine his arm trembling like...
Gosh, dang it, man. Like, that was the one thing the movies did better than the book was, click pen.
Exactly. That's what I did in Elysium, because that's the sword Ariana gets. She clicks the pen so that it turns into a blade, and then she presses her thumb against like this little circle thing on the hilt guard, and then like it transforms back into a pen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
actually, then again, I guess maybe not, because then you're like clicking it. You know, like when you have like you just can't focus, and you're just clicking the pen over and over.
I know exactly where you're going.
And they're like literally the quickest way to stab the crap out of anyone. Like this is rapid fire. Like this is when I got that item in Castlevania.
Yes.
Speed. Freaking heck, man.
He got this cool little tiny dippy sword that just went.
Like the Bastion, I think is what it's called. Bastille.
It looked like the name of a country, but wasn't.
Something like that. But like, just like freaking rapid fire Tommy gun action, sword to the chest, just
Oh man, and like you freaking beat a boss I couldn't because I could never find that sword. So
yeah. And so like that's what it's like though, is with the pen just
exactly. But you know, it's so funny. I hate myself for some of the stuff I've done in Elysium because there is Ariana's mother, her name is Monica. She's a main character for about a third of the book. And I mean, she is throughout the book, like it switches to her perspective sometimes, but she's only with the main group for a third book, or for about a third more or less of the book. And her weapon is basically the claw shot from Legend of Zelda.
That's freaking dope.
So, like, they actually make a Zelda reference, of course. And so she uses it once and never again.
Why? It's like this has infinite potential. This is so like the games. This is exactly like the games. It's like, oh, freak dope! I got the claw shot.
Well,
that's cool looking. Ah, dope! I got the double claw shot. Now I can be Spider-Man. And you like use it. I mean, obviously you use it more often because they put it in places more often.
Yeah.
But like you never use that crap for combat.
No.
You use that crap for combat once.
Exactly.
Or like the spinner. It's like the spinner. It's like, this dungeon is cool. This item is awesome. Never use it again.
I was so mad about that because I love the spinner. It's such a fun item.
Yeah.
But like that boss fight was so cool.
That Star-Lord boss fight was so dope.
I loved it.
And I can't think of a way they could have incorporated it better, but they should have done it anyways.
Oh, absolutely. Like I feel like if they in their next Zelda game, they should start bringing items like that back and have them have more uses. Yes. Like here's the funny thing: Phantom Hourglass of all games is one of the only Zelda games in which you use every item you receive from a dungeon many times throughout the game.
See, I wouldn't know that because I never played Phantom Hourglass.
Yeah, I played Spirit Tracks though,
for obvious reasons. I did play Spirit Tracks because
Phantom Hourglass is okay. It's not. It's not Faces of Evil.
Podcast ends. Okay, you're right. It's not Faces of Evil. We're not playing the Wand of Gamelon.
You must go to Koridai.
No, it burns. You must die.
No, you must die.
Just like, oh.
You've seen the Game Grumps play that, right?
I have not, and now I really, really want to.
You absolutely have to.
Oh
it is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
That sounds like better than Sonic and the Black Knight.
It is. Oh boy. Anyway, so Phantom Hourglass, it uses every item for combat. You can even use the claw shot in that game for combat, and actually it works just as well as the boomerang.
Well, see, now that's dope. I like it when a game can do that. I feel like they did a good job in Breath of the Wild of making all of the items kind of used more often than not.
Oh, yeah.
But they had like 4 items, and you get them all like right off the bat. It's like, here you go. Now you can freeze water and throw bombs and throw other bombs. Go have fun. Well, and I'm just like, okay, so I don't know if this is the right place for it. It might not be. But like, Breath of the Wild, man, what's your opinion?
So, Breath of the Wild, I am very conflicted on it, to be honest. I actually... Here's my thing. This probably best describes my opinion of Breath of the Wild. I completely misplaced my copy. I still have the case, but I have no idea where the cartridge went. And I'm just like, I mean, I kind of miss playing it sometimes, but I'm not gonna be worried about it.
Right? Okay. So for me, I really think it's a phenomenal Nintendo game.
Oh, it's groundbreaking too.
Really good, fun game. I enjoyed it a lot, but like, it's not my favorite Zelda game.
Exactly.
And when I say it's not my favorite Zelda game, I don't mean like it's not in number 1. It's like not on the list of favorite Zelda games, even though like if you're taking all the Zelda titles and you're like saying, okay, how good are these as games? I would put Breath of the Wild very, very high.
Oh, absolutely.
But like, how many of these games are good Zelda games? I don't think it would rank in the top 10. Which is, I mean, and that's controversial. Everyone's probably gonna hate on me for that. Probably pretty hard, but like, there's just something that's like a Zelda formula, you know?
Exactly.
And like, ever since, I don't want to say Link to the Past, they've had this very strict formula.
Absolutely, it has been a Link to the Past.
And the first game, I feel, was a lot more like Breath of the Wild, which is like a lot of people saying like, yeah, Breath of the Wild is actually really, really good Zelda game as a Zelda game, because it goes back to the original stuff. It's like, well, yeah, okay, it went back to game 1, But at the same time, like, we've had, like, how many games since Game 1?
Quite a few.
And so if you're going to put the games that are like Game 1, okay, you've got, like, freaking... You can call Link to the Past, like, the first one, and Breath of the Wild. And that's, like, it. And then you've got all these other games that follow, like, the formula set by Link to the Past that is followed by, like, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, all the really good modern ones that are, like, not Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass.
Well, I mean, hey, Spirit Tracks is cool. Like, Spirit Tracks had a good story and a good soundtrack.
Yeah, but it was trains.
Shut up.
Shut up.
I love Spirit Tracks music.
It was okay. I gotta give it to Spirit Tracks for the music.
Yes.
And I did like a lot of the items that they have. The overworld was a little lacking because it's a train.
Oh yeah, it did feel very restricted.
It did feel restricted. I mean, even Wind Waker, I feel, even though it was like very limited with how much you can experience in the overworld, like you had free reign.
And that's how Phantom Hourglass is.
Wherever, however you want. And so Spirit Tracks didn't do so good there.
On that, but like the music's great. The writing is pretty good too.
Yeah, and I mean even then they both follow the Zelda, I guess, formula a lot better than Breath of the Wild did.
Yeah.
Which is gonna get me so much hate. Everyone's like, are you saying that Breath of the Wild isn't as good as Train McGoy?
Hey like, guys, guys, quick PSA before you go and put those hate comments down there. Everyone is allowed their own opinion. It's okay to have a favorite Zelda game that differs others while still liking the rest of the games.
Yes, and I still do like Breath of the Wild. It's a fun game.
Yeah.
And I like the ideas they put behind it. I'm hoping they don't follow the same formula for the next one.
I don't think they will. I feel like this is just kind of like a one and done kind of game.
And I feel like it'd be really good if Nintendo made a game like that again, but not like a Zelda game. Maybe like a new character with a new storyline.
Kind of like Doki Doki Panic versus Super Mario 2.
Yeah. And so, like, I think it's a good idea, just not... I don't want the series to go in that direction, because I already like the direction of the series that I had before.
It just... I feel like my main gripe with Breath of the Wild was, I guess, the lack of story. Like, the story is there, but...
absolutely.
I feel like they should have more story. Like, Twilight Princess is amazing for that, because Twilight Princess is very cinematic, there's a lot of writing. And, like, that's my thing. Like, I love story-driven RPGs. Like, that's why I named the podcast this.
Yeah.
I love dialogue, I love reading in games. That's what I love about Zelda games. More or less.
I mean, and it doesn't have to be a full-on, like, just dialogue fest.
Oh, absolutely not.
But, like, for example, my favorite Zelda game is Majora's Mask. And a big part of Majora's Mask's draw for me is all of the characters and how you can interact with all of them, and they each have their own background entirely. Like, the most generic characters aren't in the central town. I mean, obviously there are some generic characters like Deku, Scrubs, Zoras, and Gorons.
But that's because everyone's racist.
That's because, human beings are racist. Like, that's how we are. And so, I mean, you can even see the game developer's character just from playing that game. But, like, with Breath of the Wild, even though there are a lot of characters, there wasn't as many standouts. I mean, there was a few, like that one chick who just couldn't cook and is, like, swinging her little ladle, like the sword, over the charred remains. And there's a shrine just in the middle of all this crap she could not cook. And with all these flies. Like, that was a standout character.
Speaking of
and I like the Eagle Clan.
Yeah. Well, they're amusing, and then there's that one lady with the flowers in front of the shrine.
Yeah, but, like, every character in a lot of Zelda games that you can actually talk to is like, here's their story, and here's why they're cool. And Breath of the Wild felt so much more generic.
It did, because it feels more like the NPCs are just there to be there rather than actually have their own lives.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, I don't know. Like, the designs for Zelda characters each look either very different or exactly the same when they're related.
Yeah, like, pretty much.
Every single one. And I can't think of a single game since, like, A Link to the Past that, I mean, a mainline game where they didn't do that other than Breath of the Wild.
Well, I mean, wait. Are you still talking about, like, characters who are related to each other?
Characters that you can talk to.
Oh, okay.
So, like, each of the characters you can talk to are either part of a group that like they all look the same as like the Tingle and his brothers in Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Or they each look completely separate and new and different and have their own dialogue and they're completely their own thing. And Breath of the Wild had a few of those, but they also had a lot of characters that just kind of look and feel the same. And I would say the game kind of feels like a toned down Nintendo, little bit more fun Zelda style Skyrim.
That's probably the best way to put it.
And I don't want Zelda to be Skyrim. I know that a lot of people love Skyrim, and I think it's a fun game, and Breath of the Wild's a fun game, but, like, if I want to play Skyrim, I play Skyrim, you know?
Exactly.
Like, if I want to play Zelda, I want to play Zelda.
Yeah, like, that was my main draw, too. Like, that's one of the reasons why I love Majora's Mask, too. The characters are so in-depth, and they have their own lives.
Yes.
And the Anju and Cafe story is awesome.
Oh, my fudge. Like, that's still the number one Zelda side quest, by the way.
It's for good reason.
For good reasons. The number one Zelda quest, period. Like, oh, I can go and save the entire freaking country? Yeah, but I mean, that kind of takes second place, right? It does.
It absolutely does.
I think that was a masterpiece game. A lot of people agree with that. There's also a lot of people who never made it past the Woodfall Temple, and they don't agree with that.
I love the game. I've never beaten it, but I still love everything about the game. It's fantastic. And I do.
It's so good.
I tried starting the Anju and Cafe quest myself, but then I just kind of stopped playing after a while. I haven't really been playing games.
Well, how far did you get in the game?
Oh, not very far.
You're not able to do Anju and Cafe until like late game.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah.
Because like.
This is why he couldn't do it, guys. This is why he quit. He's like, oh, I can't do Anju and Cafe. I don't know why.
There's no
something wrong.
There's no reason for playing the game anymore.
I guess I'm done.
I stopped at the point where you actually talk to Cafe while he's stalking the frigging shop.
Seiken guy?
I pronounce Sakon because that's what they call him in the opera. But
that's probably actually how you pronounce it because it's Japanese, but you know.
Yeah, whatever. Potato, tomato.
Potato, tomato.
Exactly.
Seikon. Anyways, yeah. Wait, he's following him? Like...
no, he's stalking him in the shop. Like,
in the shop.
When you finally give him Andrew's letter and he like talks to you, like that's where I stopped.
Okay, that's as far as you can get before you have to do late game stuff.
Crap! I wanted to do like as many side quests as I could before actually progressing the story.
Yeah, that's not one of the ones that'll work.
That's unfortunate. 'Cause, like that's like the one I wanted to do.
Well, of course, but I mean, like they're gonna want you to have a level of investment in the game before they're gonna give you the best thing possible.
That's a good point. Yeah. I should actually start playing the game.
Yeah, sadly.
That's
you
unfortunate.
have to at least get Epona.
Okay.
And then after you get Epona, I mean, even then, I think you should, because it's in an area that you don't have to just get Epona. You have to get the hookshot. So you have to beat like the Great Bay Temple.
Oh, okay.
Before you're gonna be able to do it, and before you can efficiently do it, you have to completely beat the Great Bay Temple, not just get there. Because you get the hookshot right before the Great Bay Temple. But if you're gonna do it efficiently, you're gonna want the owl statue, and the owl statue is like up a cliff that you have to use ice arrows for. I liked how that game also incorporated the items. They did a good job there.
They really did. Well, I mean, the way the game's formatted is like they're unlike Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. There are only 4 dungeons, not like 7 or 8 or whatever. So you had more opportunities to use the items.
Yeah, and not just that, but like the open world was much better fleshed out, I feel, than Ocarina of Time. Like Ocarina of Time was definitely a fantastic game. I loved the music and the storyline and all that. The main area wasn't super fleshed out. It was very impressive, especially for its time. Very big.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, I think that's the idea. They wanted to create like a big open world you can explore.
And it felt really wide open the first time you're playing it, way back when.
Exactly, but
it's so much smaller than like Twilight Princess or anything.
Oh, but, yeah, Twilight Princess's world is huge.
Yeah, but with Majora's Mask, I think they did a really good job of making every portion of the map have something in it.
Exactly, and like the entire overworld is like connected.
Yeah. So it's like here there's grass and there's shoes over here and there's several chests you can go through each of the 4 spots.
It's packed with
has
stuff.
Its own enemies and they're not just like, let's put 6 pea hats here. Like
exactly.
It's cool. I enjoyed it a lot, and I also enjoyed Ocarina of Time, obviously. for different reasons. But like, I mean, they had all the items from Ocarina of Time that were noteworthy, not like the dumb ones, like the the slingshot or boomerang that you don't need. They just go straight to the good ones.
Exactly.
Which is nice. But then they also have the masks, and I thought that was so dope. Some of the masks that they had were just kind of dumb, like use them once you're done. And some of them were like, I'm literally just getting this so I can get the Fierce Deities mask at the end. Like the pig mask. I know what you use a pig mask for, but you would never use it. No one would ever actually go to that place every time, just like, oh, I gotta get that mushroom. Like, if I don't get that mushroom, man,
I gotta get those shrooms, dude.
Gotta get the shrooms.
Freaking out. It's like, that's my thing. I love the masks in that game, and honestly, just for fun, I like to use the Bremen mask just because I like the little tune. Like,
okay, so crazy thing. The Bremen mask. You know where it's actually from?
What is it?
Okay, this is dope. I found this out on my mission. But there's a city in Germany called Bremen. And Bremen has these, it's a central point in one of the Grimm fairy tales called the Musicians. Dude. The city musicians or whatever. And, it's a donkey, a dog, a cat, and a chicken that want to go to Bremen and play music. And so it's a chicken that lets you play the music. Oh, and so that's why it's called the Bremen mask, I think.
That makes me happy. I like that. Like, I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised. That's definitely an intentional reference because Nintendo has been known to reference plenty of
other things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so that was where that comes from. And I found that fantastic. I actually went to Bremen, and it was like really cool because I got the statue there with all the four of them. And
that's so cool.
But like, just the fact that I could look back and I was like, holy crap, that was an Zelda game. Kind of, maybe.
Oh jeez, that's how I'm gonna feel like if I ever visit Tokyo. I'm like, dude, I'm walking the same path freaking Akira walks. I'm just gonna freak out like
this one fictional character was here in their game.
Like I'm gonna freak out like the internal weeb I am.
Yes. Oh, I love being a weeb.
Exactly, just being a nerd in general is amazing.
That's my favorite.
Exactly. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask, what is your least favorite Zelda game that you still enjoy playing?
That's a hard one. So, are we talking least favorite Zelda game as a Zelda game, or least favorite Zelda game as a game? Because there's a difference.
Why not just go with both categories?
Okay. That I still enjoy. See, if it wasn't that I still enjoy, I'd very clearly state The Legend of Zelda 2. That one sucks, straight up.
I love what they tried to do with it, but I get what I totally.
Yeah, the key point there was the word tried. They did not succeed.
I do have a bit of a thing to say about that, but go ahead.
Okay, but I didn't enjoy that one, so it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Probably my least favorite Zelda game that I've played and enjoyed as a game would be Spirit Tracks.
Mm.
And the one that I played that I didn't enjoy as a Zelda game, I want to say Breath of the Wild, but I don't know if Link's crossbow training counts or not.
No, I wouldn't count that since
wouldn't count that.
You technically can because it's almost a sequel to Twilight Princess. Almost.
That's very iffy. I feel like that's kind of the point. Is that's really not a Zelda game.
It's not. It's just.
But it's got a Zelda title on it.
I mean, it's just one of Nintendo's things where they wanted to test out a new gimmick, so they just threw a Zelda game in there.
And so I'd probably say Breath of the Wild, just because that one is verifiably a Zelda game, but doesn't feel as much like a Zelda game. Whereas Link's crossbow training is just verifiably not a Zelda game.
Exactly. It's still kind of fun though.
It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I mean, as a Zelda, it feels way worse than. Its storyline is way worse than Breath of the Wild.
What storyline?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. That might change when Crypt of the Necro. No, what is it? Cadence of Hyrule.
Cadence, yeah.
Yeah, when that one comes out, that might change. Maybe.
That game looks really cool.
It looks interesting. But I don't know that it'll be a Zelda game.
No, it might. It's like a rhythm. It's like a rhythm Zelda.
Yeah, because it's like Crypt of the Necro Dancer or whatever that's called.
That's what it's called. Zelda. Yeah, I love that because one of my favorite musicians actually worked on the soundtrack of Crypt of the Necro Dancer. So I have high hopes for Cadence of Hyrule.
And so it might be a cool game. I'm not sure. I haven't played the Crypt game, so I'm not sure how the gameplay will work or if it'll feel like a Zelda game or a Crypt game. But we'll see. And then I guess I could also say that ties Breath of the Wild could also potentially tie with Hyrule Warriors. Hyrule Warriors is also kind of verifiably not a Zelda game, but I mean it feels so Zelda-esque as far as like just all the little nods and hints. I mean it doesn't feel like the story is a Zelda game or dungeons or anything. Definitely does not follow Zelda formula.
It has the atmosphere of a Zelda game though.
I mean, kind of. Like, the characters are definitely all Zelda characters, and, you know, they act and interact like Zelda characters, and I love all the little nods and stuff that they give. I don't feel like it fit Zelda as much as it could have.
Yeah.
I mean, not even could have. Like, I feel like, for example, they have Fire Emblem Warriors. I feel like that did a phenomenal job of being a mix of the two, where it's just kind of Fire Emblem with, you know, the mechanics and, not even the writing style, but just like the mechanics of Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah.
Whereas I kind of felt like the storyline of Hyrule Warriors was just kind of Dynasty Warriors with a Zelda skin.
That's understandable.
And so that one could also tie, but I gotta love all the little hints and, I mean not hints, but just a little, tip of the hats that they gave to, like, weeb Zelda fans. Just like, freak, I can't believe he picks up the thing. You press the buttons on the load screen and you can play the ocarina.
See,
it was just cool. Like, just these cool little hints and tips and, like, fan bits. And I loved that aspect, even though it didn't follow the formula. I still felt like this was a cool Zelda-esque theme.
Oh yeah, that's exactly why World of Final Fantasy is one of my favorite Final Fantasy spin-offs, because it's like it has all these Final Fantasy characters that like weren't in Dissidia, but they finally have attention in a game that's not their own, like Vivi from Final Fantasy IX, Ferris from Final Fantasy V, like all these amazing characters that Square Enix seems to have never touched until recently, and it's amazing.
Okay, real talk now. Freaking Nintendo announced Crystal Chronicles coming to the Switch.
Yes.
And I'm ecstatic, but when?
Exactly.
When?
The funny thing is they're releasing all these Final Fantasy games. Like, have you heard that 10 will be releasing like on the 16th and 12?
Yeah.
12 will be releasing like at the end of the month.
And 7's already been released. And
I've actually been playing 7 on the Switch.
Yeah, and all these different things. And it's like, where's mine? Where's Crystal Chronicles? That is the one game I played almost all the way through.
Yes, and
that I'm really psyched about because it's multiplayer online.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
The game just seems like it'd actually be made for the Switch or like the Wii U or something. But like, when?
The cool thing is now my brother has a Switch, so that's a third player.
Yeah, third player, and then my brother has a Switch. We have 2 Austins and a Jacob and a Parker.
That sounds like the beginning of a joke.
It does. And 2 Jacobs, an Austin, and a Parker.
Wait. That is the joke.
Something got mixed up here. Okay. But like, freaking when, guys? Because that game was so awesome. Like,
I never got past the forest place.
And you never get to play the multiplayer.
Because you need the freaking Game Boy.
Because you need the Game Boy Advance and a LAN connector. Like, who has a LAN connector?
In 2019.
Well, I mean, in 2004 either. Like, ain't nobody got a LAN cord.
Exactly. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that in 2019.
But it is the perfect multiplayer Final Fantasy game for the Switch.
Yes.
That is ideal console for it.
And I want it now. Or at least a release date so I can stop worrying about, like, when is it coming out? Just, like, tell me when and I will be satisfied. Which is, I mean, mostly true. I was kind of mad when they said that My Hero Academia was going to get updated in fall instead of spring. So that made me mad. But I won't be like that this time, I promise. Just tell me when with Crystal Chronicles, please.
Hear that, Nintendo? Tell Parker when.
Tell Parker when. Make it a big, big deal, guys. Make it a big deal. Hashtag tell Parker when.
Yes, tell Parker. Hashtag tell Parker when. I'm totally putting that in the video description now. You know that.
Yes. Hashtag tell Parker when.
Okay.
Share it with your friends and my friends.
And your family and Nintendo headquarters and your uncle who works at Nintendo.
That'd be dope. Please.
Anyway, we've got less than a minute left. Anything else you want to say to the viewers before we go?
Thank you. That's it.
All right, cool. This has been the Party Talk option with Jacob and Parker. I will see you guys next week, probably with my brother. I don't know. We'll see. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.
There we go. Stop the recording.